and welcome to the Pirate Broadcast. And I'm just so excited today because we just asked Cher and we have all the answers today. So it's amazing. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, Cher. How are you today?
It's great to be here. I'm sorry, I couldn't help
That's
it. I'm sure it's not. I'm
You're
not
a
the first
pirate now.
one.
You can
I
help.
know.
You don't have to help it. You're already here. You're pirate material now.
That's right.
So welcome to the show. For those that don't know Cher, I just really want to have you take a moment and tell us, you have a show, you have a weekly show on Tuesday, it happens at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And this is something you've been doing for a while, and you've had LinkedIn Live for a while, and you have a YouTube channel, and you're famous across the interwebs. And I just love the format and the layout that you have. And I want to get into that a little bit, but first I want people to know a little bit more about Cher and what you're doing and how you're doing, and let them get to know you from your perspective.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. Like we were just saying off camera, it's so cool to actually have a conversation with somebody you feel like you've had a conversation with, because I've been watching your show, you watch mine. I feel like we know each other, but this is the first time. This is the first real conversation. So this is exciting. Yeah. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I have a social media training company, and I specialize in the personal brand for business. And so what I mean by that is, yes, there's a lot of social selling training, for example, but then there's the rest of the organization that, especially now, more than ever, we are recognizing that our personal brands mean business, and we actually need to figure out how to present ourselves online and then how to be social in a business context, because there's such a huge disconnect. So I've created training programs as well as coaching programs. So I do a lot of corporate training and coaching programs on teaching people how to be social for business. So often they're corporate leaders or influencers in a company. So they are subject matter experts. They're in sales. They are naturally socially active employees who have influence. So when they share things, they have the reach that they'll get much more authentic reach and content than what the major corporate account gets when they share something. So there's this wonderful opportunity for organizations to recognize that instead of having your employees look like they're looking for a job, how about repositioning them so you know what they do and how they can help the people they're meant to serve, whether internally or externally. So in a nutshell, that's what I help people do, is I help people shine online in their gifts and how they serve in their roles, and help them be social in a way that's going to move their business goals forward.
That's interesting. A couple of nuggets that you dropped there that, if you could, as a business owner, shine the light on your employees and tell people how awesome they are. Jim Gittimer, who's someone I enjoy and follow, did a post the other day, and he said, nobody wants to work with a nobody. Everybody wants to work with somebody, right? So if you can be the authority, if you can be visible and you can shine your talents and your skills and your team's skills, that gives you an advantage in the marketplace, and the ability and the opportunity to, be in front of more people because of your visibility and your, the knowledge of transfer that you're putting out in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a skill that a lot of people have not yet quite understood and adopted yet. So what are some things, as smaller business owners that might be challenged right now with the current situation? I'm just going to ask Cher.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And the reality is there's probably some baby steps that we could all take, kind of put a little polish on our profile. And what does that look like in most cases for people? What's something that you see over and over again that people can improve on?
there's a few things that I think that are game changing, because
Mhm.
here's the thing. Every time we pick up the phone to call somebody, send somebody an email, leave them a message, invite them to a meeting. And if they don't know who we are, the first thing they're doing is they're checking you out.
Yeah.
So when they land on your profile, this is your opportunity to give them the language that you want them to either think about you or use to refer you, so that they know that this is who they're dealing with. So you have an opportunity to prime the pump right now. And people are not taking advantage of that, because most people, especially if we focus on LinkedIn first, which I think is where everybody should really focus their primary efforts, just whether this is their money, whether LinkedIn is their money network or not. And I'll explain that
Mhm.
later, but
Yeah.
they need to make sure they have, a presence that explains what they do and how they serve. So like I was saying, most people show up looking like they're looking for a job, but yet they're not. We only look for a job between 5 and 10 times in our lifetime for most people on
It's
average
not
in a
something
career.
we do on a regular basis as a hobby.
Exactly. And if we're on LinkedIn on a regular basis, why do you want to look as good as the last job you applied for with a new title? Right?
Yeah.
Let me know what you do now. So the first thing that I always encourage people to do is look like their profile picture.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is huge, because the minute someone's looking you up before a meeting, or trying to find you at the conference, or looking at you in the crowd, watching you speak, and they're like, wait, you don't even match. You just lied. Right? You just lied.
This
You just
is
started
not
your
this
relationship
is
on a
not
lie.
this is a lie.
Exactly. And now I'm distracted because I'm trying to figure out, oh, okay. And then it's like, that's a distraction. So
Uh-huh.
whatever you just said, I'm still trying to worry about the distraction of you not matching. But anyways, besides that, the next opportunity is get rid of that blue background. Just get rid of it.
The
Put
header.
something up, that cover photo, and that's what they call it, that header photo. Just get rid of it. It's
I put
amazing.
out more tutorials on how to do that simply with Canva.
Exactly.
It's like,
Canva is
here's
a
how you do it.
godsend.
And it's like so simple, so easy for many of us to be able
Yeah.
to do that. Not
Yeah.
everybody's technical and not everybody wants to learn those types of skills.
Mhm.
However, it doesn't take very long. It can make a huge difference in the world.
Right. And it's just an immediate snap. It's like a blink judgment, right? So it's like a Malcolm
Mhm.
Gladwell thing. You just blink and it's like, okay, you feel like you're somewhere. And then the next most important thing is that headline.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of making sure your title's in the headline. And that's, there's no right or wrong with this. I love a title, your current title, because people want to put you in a box. And that's my argument. They want to know what you are. A lot of people just have a statement, which is totally fine, like a branded statement, a promise statement of how they help and serve, which is great. I'm a fan of having them both.
Mhm.
So that's my thing, because I
Okay.
really feel that when I look people up, I want to know
There's
what I
always 2 schools of thoughts, right?
absolutely. And neither of them are wrong. It's just a
Yeah.
preference. Right. And then the next part, and this is the most important part, but only for the people who actually need to know about you. Because most people never go beyond that branded part, like your picture, your cover photo, and your headline.
Well, I think 85% of them are just looking to make sure that you're actually a real person.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I received this message from someone.
Yeah.
Are they
Let
a
me look
real
them up.
person?
Yeah.
What are they, what's their deal? Who are they working for?
Hmm.
What is their gig?
Yeah.
And that's really, I mean, for 80% of the
Yes.
population, that's as far as they go.
Absolutely. But the people who are going deep are the people who need to know.
Yeah.
Right. And we make decisions based off of what we know, and we say no to what we don't know. So at this point in that about section, this is your opportunity to now tell people how you can help and who you help. So most people start off talking about themselves. And
Mm,
for me, I believe that because you've already told them about yourself in your headline, you have that promise statement, you have
yep.
you have your title. Now let's flip the script and talk about the people you help with. So what you have to do to land their attention is that first sentence really has to be around the problem that you solve and not about you. So it's a generalized statement of how of what the problem is that you solve. So for me, it's like social media has completely changed the way we do business. We look people up, we do this before we take their phone call, their email, blah, blah, blah. So that's the first thing. So I'm laying out what the problem is. And then I start to introduce myself as a
Mhm.
corporate social media trainer. I help. And it's literally that summary section, that about section, which is what it is now called, is an elevator pitch to who you are, to the people who need to know more about you. And so that's why you need to really get a grasp on your target audience, so they'll know the main area that you work in, how you help. And it doesn't always have to be external client facing. It can be internal. You could talk about a team. You could talk about, if you're in HR, you're talking about talent coming in and how stressful that can be. But what you do as this person, I do this so that my company can find the best talent. And then, or whatever I'm just making this up on the spot, but then the next paragraph, that's when you start to talk about yourself. That's when you're like, and here's why. Basically you're saying it's not my first rodeo. Here's why I am
Well,
able to
it's the
do
epiphany bridge in the story. It's like,
yes.
okay, here, this is what I do. This is how I help. This is how I can help you, and
Mhm.
why I'm
Exactly.
qualified to do this. It's like,
And you see it, and it's not that deep. Like when you actually see it, and I
mhm.
love your linkage around the epiphany bridge. That is a really good way of positioning that, because it's like you have to bring that person to the point where it's like, oh, and I'm in the right spot. This is the person, and here's why. And then when
Messaging is so important.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like when you give people, and this is the strategic side of it, is when you are invited to a meeting or when you're inviting people to a meeting, follow it up with a LinkedIn request. Or if you're already connected, just send them a note saying, looking forward to next week's meeting. Right. And
I
the
love the
reason
power of the
why
DM.
is you're putting your profile in front of them and you're priming the pump. You're getting them ready so that when you walk into this meeting, they already know how they want to work with you.
Yeah.
They're not trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, the
really important.
landscape now has it's obviously changed,
Mm. Mhm.
and messaging is gonna be key.
Yes.
Video, I think, is gonna be equally important and
Mhm.
absolutely impactful. And the one thing that I really encourage people to do or understand is that if you haven't adopted some level of video in some of your business, part of your business,
Mhm.
any part of your business, to communicate and get that message out, I think you're falling short of an opportunity, because it used to be that, way back in my day, it was this idea that, yeah, oh, you have a website? Oh, and then it became, what's your website?
Mhm.
Right? The expectation is you have a website. It's not
Mhm.
if you have a website. Now the expectation is that you are on social media.
Yeah.
Where do I find you on social media is the question more and
Mhm.
more. And business owners, even the business owners that I have as clients,
Mhm.
say, uh, we don't really do business on social media. Well, your employees are all connected with people. People do business with people.
Mhm.
Back to your
Mhm.
original point, Cher, this whole process of highlighting the employees of your business and all of the wonderful skills they possess. You hired them
Yeah.
for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, if you can organize this, especially on LinkedIn, if you could organize your company page and all your employee profiles to generate interest and impact in
Mhm.
the community, put some really creative content videos out there that
Mhm.
highlight your business. I mean, game changer.
Huge.
Game
And
changer.
absolutely. So everybody listening out there, like this is something that's huge, because especially when you can teach your employees to position their profile that not only highlights them individually, but highlights how they serve your customers or how they serve from within. And these are huge. These are significantly important things, because our presence online
Mhm.
impacts not only sales, it also impacts talent retention, because if you are co-creating with these employees who are glad to be there and you're creating something that's pushing people out, the mentality behind it is that you're working together. This is, they're a part of it. That loyalty is embedded into these actions. And then because you're part of something, and that's what we're recognizing now, is people want to be a part of something. They want to be in belonging in there. And then so you've got retention, but you've also got talent attraction as well, because they see the talent. So employers used to be, and some of them are still quietly afraid that, oh, if I teach my employees how to use LinkedIn, they're going to go somewhere else. It's the opposite. It's like, I want to work with that guy. Oh, that guy's on your team. That guy looks awesome. That'd be awesome to work with. And being able to create, as you said, co-create that content with branded employees who know how to distribute the content as well.
The attraction factor is amazing when you start to generate this, what I call the flywheel, the attraction flywheel.
Yeah.
It's like the traffic circle. It's a process, long before Gary Vee had this idea of multi-purposing stuff. It's like this whole concept of being able to take a piece of content and utilize it with your team and then continue to share it out is just, I mean, I can't explain the value to people that haven't experienced that. And it is amazing. And having corporate experience and training experience, you could probably, well, obviously validate that point. So
absolutely. And I mean, it's just something that as marketing teams start to recognize the distribution value that they can get when they have more socially active employees who know what they're doing. Because the problem is right now they're told, start using social media.
Yeah. Without any guidance.
Without any guidance, or the only guidance they get is don't do. And that's not telling people what to do.
That's not inspirational.
No, it's scary. Because no one wants, and then that's the other thing is this is not an inherent talent that everybody gets, that they can just know how to position themselves strategically for work, be social for work. They're just practically figuring it out on their own time, on their personal channels. So now when you've got something on the line, when you've got your reputation, a visual version, like I said, like literally a visual version of your reputation, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's like, people are scared, and then they're not doing anything because they don't want to get fired. They don't want it. But instead of empowering them with the how and focusing on things like relationships and understanding how important that is. And it's not about the swing and the pitch, the connect and the pitch. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't work either. Yeah.
Well, not everyone, I mean, we're kind of unique because what I would consider, some of the people that are setting examples and pushing boundaries and, going live and doing these things that most people are unwilling or just doing.
Yeah.
And because we're probably in this, you probably see a lot more live videos like I do, because that's what's in our feed and seems like that's what gets attracted to us. But there's a lot of people out there that are not doing it. They're not even putting out content for the most part based on the analytics and the information I receive from these posts. And it just boggles my mind that people are not putting themselves out there, telling their stories, sharing that information. And that's what the Pirate Broadcast is all about. I love talking to interesting people doing interesting things. Finding out, okay, well, how do you do it? What do you do it? Why do you do it?
Right.
What brought you here, Cher? What was it what evolved you to this position? I mean, what was the spark in social media that decided, I think I'm going to do some social media. I think I'm going to do video.
Yeah.
Where the heck did that come from?
Well, the cool thing about my road to this is, well, you don't know, but I've been on LinkedIn since like 2004. Like I'm a LinkedIn OG, and I've actually like original gangster on LinkedIn. Okay. So I've been here a long time. And I also have been doing social. It's so crazy because it's so crazy how much time has passed. I have been in some way or another social media training since 2011. 2013 is when I left my corporate PR job full-time, government corporate PR job full-time to do this in 2013. So it's like, I've literally been at this game for a while, figuring it out and create and focusing on that, that personal brand for business. So in that space. And it's what's interesting is I started my career. So this is such a culmination of all the superpowers that I've been amassing over the years. So I started my career in
sports. You didn't even realize there was an intersection, did you?
Not at the time, but that's what I love doing is I love helping people, because when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And now I get to help people connect the dots to distinguish.
You get to do what I love, helping people I care about.
Yeah. Wow. And also to like help them feel awesome about their journey and tie together those points that distinguish them from anybody else who has the exact same title as them. So I started my career in sports broadcasting, and I did. And this is, again, like this is not my first rodeo. Like I was telling you before, objects appear younger than they actually are, because I'm going to be 46 this year. So I started my career like almost 20 years ago. And I worked for the Raptors for 5 years as a pre and a post game producer. I did some on-air work with our national broadcaster, because I'm in Canada, CBC. I have worked in marketing, and then I worked in corporate communications and PR for the city of Toronto. So what I have all these different communication lenses that I get to layer onto social. And I've naturally always been into tech and social media. I was using MySpace before MySpace was even cool. You know what I mean? So it's since 99, I've been using social, right? And, it's something that I've always looked at the opportunity to figure it out. And my last job before I jumped into this, I was working with the city of Toronto. I was managing communications I was responsible for communications for an entire division, like their strategy to execution and everything in between. And the one thing that I saw is this was a time where governments were starting to realize, hey, social media, this is something that's happening. This is a thing. We don't know what to do yet. So what I did is I developed the first social media training program for all the communicators in the city. And the city there's like 140 at the time when I was working there. So I developed that first training program. I was like, I heard that they were starting to develop a policy, and I said to my manager, I said, listen, I got to get a seat at that table. So by the time I left the city, if you said Cher Jones, you said social media in the same sentence, because that's when I realized I didn't even have that term personal branding yet, because that wasn't even a thing. And that's where all these things start to come together and make sense. So
alignment.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, our backgrounds are, I always tell people, if you have a conversation long enough with somebody, you'll always find a thread. I used to work for the Sonics, radio, broadcast, television, outdoor advertising. When I was in Houston, I was running radio stations and broadcasting all the high school varsity sports. And the Sugarland Skeeters, baseball, entertainment league. And it's just all these little experiences, these little episodes of, what am I going to do with this? Where is it going to go? What's going to happen with this? All of those experiences accumulate to the skills we have today.
Exactly.
And just like yourself, being in that environment, being and growing and developing skills brings you to where you are today. And people don't realize that. I mean, you make it look so easy, right? You make it seem so seamless, and hopefully your experience to be on the Pirate broadcast was pretty pain-free.
Awesome. It's awesome.
And I make it as simple as possible, because not everybody's as technical as you are. And so it's really an opportunity to be broadcasting, to be sharing, to be producing content in a very simple way. On your show, I want to shift gears a little bit before we wrap it up. You don't use, I'm curious to what platform you use, because I love the timer. I love the slides that you come in and bring in. And I use Ecamm.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, that reminds me of Ecamm, or even before that was OSB, but
Mm-hmm.
OBS.
OBS. Yep.
And I'm just wondering, what's your preference? What's your platform?
Well, I use Streamlabs OBS, so it's layered onto that. But then
Okay.
all of those graphics,
Uh-huh.
this chick right here, I designed everything. Like it's all custom built, like everything. So
But you
my
bring them, but you bring the slide, you slide them in and out.
yeah, no, I designed all of that myself.
Okay. So
And see, this is not
the
my
timer's
first.
pretty cool.
The timer, yeah, as I found this like countdown clock timer, it's like just pieces, because with Streamlabs, it's kind of like Photoshop. You can layer things in, like you build it what they call a scene, and then you're
Like,
in
yeah,
any OBS, and you
yeah,
just it's
yeah,
very technical. And I always tell people, listen, I worked in a live broadcasting environment. I went to school for journalism.
yeah,
Like, this is not my first rodeo, and it's not my first streaming rodeo either. I
yeah.
don't know if you remember Google. I'm sure you remember Google Hangouts on Air.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had a show, and I was a co-host and and I was like the whole back end producer of
Uh-huh.
all the graphics. And that's where I started to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
And and I wanted something so unique and so different. And I wanted to produce a show. I didn't like how you have a show. There's a beginning, middle, and end. You know where you're going. You
Mhm.
have things set up. There's a high level of professional polish to what you do. That's the same thing. I wanted that too. I wanted to stand out. So when people talk about LinkedIn Lives, they're bringing up your name, right? They're bringing up your
I
name,
hope
Russ.
so.
They absolutely are. I see you're always mentioning the conversations. They talk about me. They talk about a few others, because we went that broadcasting route,
Yeah.
and we wanted to show. And what's interesting right now, this is the coolest thing ever, is there's a show out of Canada called The Social, and it's just like
Mhm.
it's kind of like The View, our version of The View.
Yeah.
And they are all Skyping in to do this. And I'm like, this is completely leveled the playing field, because they are doing no different from what you are doing right now.
Well, you watch the TV right now, and I was just having this conversation last night. You watch the television now when everybody's, at
At
home
home.
in quarantine, and we're all on this same kind of platform. It's like
Yes,
television 2.0. There's
exactly.
and I have always I was way early. I
Mm.
was way early because I used to be on Blab, and I used
Yeah,
to do
Blab
shows on.
too. Yes.
I used to stream to, YouTube early on, when
Mhm.
it took a little bit of
Google
technology to
Hangouts
get.
on Air. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, holy, this is finally at the point where you are the media. You are
Yes.
the brand.
Yes.
You have a message.
Mhm.
Share it out. People that in your circle of friends want to be inspired by your stories. And they
Mhm.
don't want to just do it over a phone call once in a while, every 3 weeks
Mhm.
when you decide to pick up the phone. They want to be inspired all the time. And it doesn't take a lot of effort, and it doesn't take a lot of energy. And that's why I built the Pirate Syndicate, so I can actually offer assistance to those individuals that don't have the technology, don't have the interest in learning the
Mhm.
technology, and just
Mhm.
want to be able to share and be able to connect with their
Love
community.
it.
And it's a super, and the pirate broadcast is the platform to
Mhm.
test all this technology and the theories.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's one of the
And
reasons why I picked up Google Hangouts on Air way back in the days, because it was like, I need to learn this. I was
yeah.
like, there is no way else. My cousin and I, we had a show called the Lori and Cher Show, Hacking into Awesome. So very similar concept in the sense of just trying to find people who are
I
doing
watched your
awesome
videos.
things and hack into it. Yeah. So this is so
I
long
subscribe to
ago.
your YouTube channel too.
That's awesome. And so like when I look at that now, and I look at the live format, what the beauty of the live format is for me is it's forced consistency.
Yes.
It
Yes.
makes you show up because people are waiting for you, especially when you said you're going to be there. And this is the one that you don't get caught up in editing. You get caught up in prep, sure, but once you go live, you're live, and you just
Well,
got to
see,
roll with it.
I have trained a team of people that I get up, I show up, I do the show,
I think that's
everything else is
awesome.
done.
That's where I need to level up to your game. I'm telling you, Russ, I need to level up, because seriously.
I just and the whole point, my whole brainstorm, my whole idea was this concept. If I can do a show every single day,
Mhm.
and I've got, I don't know, 140 shows, 140
Yeah.
episodes now on live, which I
Mhm.
don't know if anybody else has, done that much live. I
Not
don't.
not not to your consistency, like
Yeah.
you're fire.
And I mean, and I'm booked through April.
Yeah.
I'm booking May right now.
It's so crazy because I know when I was booking, I was like, whoa, 3 weeks out. Okay.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And it was kind of a crazy time because I think we had connected earlier
Mhm.
and it wasn't the right time. And
Mhm.
I came back and I said, hey,
I'm
okay,
so glad you did. Thank you.
come on, gotta get on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am kind of curious because I'm wondering what's happened. Ange said, good morning, everyone. Happy April Fool's Day.
Hey, Ange. Right. You know what? I remember looking at the calendar and remembering that it was April Fool's Day. And then I forgot. Thank you for the reminder. I wonder who I'm going to play a joke on.
Well, the joke is on us, apparently, because I have been watching the feed here
Mhm.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And nobody's here.
Oh.
So I don't know. It says one person.
Let me take a look. Because sometimes it shows up or it doesn't.
Refreshes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm a little curious here. Like we've been on for a little while and it says 59 comments, 104 views, but the comments are not coming up for me.
Right. And not even right now, none of your when I look on your calendar, on your profile, and I'm looking for your activity, I can't even find your activity right now. So it might be something up with LinkedIn. So all of you guys commenting, we appreciate you.
All the gratitude in the world.
All
Thank
the gratitude
you so much.
in the world. Yes.
I love that you're here. I love the pirate broadcast. And now that you're a pirate, I have a pirate group pirate broadcast group that I share extra content in. And
okay.
And
I'll jump in.
And I just really appreciate the fact that we're here and we can have this conversation because I think there's a lot of people that are out there that are, in transition. They're going to be in transition for a while. And there's an opportunity for people to be creative. When boredom sets in, creativity erupts. So, use that time to learn a skill, grade your skill set, understand that there's an opportunity in the future waiting for you. And if you take the time to improve what you're doing rather than just not do it.
Yeah.
Be positive, everyone. I just want to be able to put that out there. And
100%. Now is the time because I mean, there's two sides to this story right now. There's a lot of devastation, there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of suffering. Yeah. And most people are feeling both. And then there's a lot of opportunity in the chaos. And these both worlds exist simultaneously. So it's like, what's the better offer right now? And if you can turn your focus, as much as the other offer still exists, like that negativity, it's there, and we can acknowledge it there, and acknowledge it as being there, but turn your focus to the better opportunity. Yeah. Right? Because that exists too. So it's trying to find some being creative in the chaos, like creating this opportunity, finding that opportunity in the chaos right now, because it does exist and it's hard. And the thing is right now, what I can just tell everybody in your network and who's watching right now is that most people that you see on LinkedIn, you can reach out and just ask them a question. Like everybody's in giving mode right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
For everybody that I've seen, everybody that I'm connected to, and we both have very large networks, and they're in giving mode, and we see a lot of content going out there. And if you are in dire needs, if you just need a conversation, if you need an idea, like you just need to bounce an idea off of somebody, don't think that, sometimes you might have to request more than once, and it's not because they're ignoring you, it's just because they're busy or whatever, but just leverage the relationships you have and ask.
And the other thing I'm doing is I'm putting out some an outreach for people to share a story, share something of inspiration, share something that you're feeling, so we can actually share some of those things on here and publish, because not everybody's willing to get in front of the camera and
100%.
Online. and
Yeah.
the voices still need to be heard. The emotions and the feelings and the inspiration needs to be published. It still needs to be shared, and I'm
Exactly.
doing outreach for that as well.
That's
So,
awesome. And I think it's such a great tactic for creating content in this, and also for developing relationships with people that you want to
oh,
get a little
absolutely.
tighter with. And just for those of you guys watching who've never seen what my broadcast, so my broadcast is significantly different from Russ's in the sense that mine is a one-woman show.
Mhm.
Me, but what I'm doing
Awesome. Let's hear.
for the most part, thank you. I do miss the interview format, and I do a lot. I love having conversations with
But you can
people. It's
always
like,
come
oh,
back now
people.
that you're a pirate.
Absolutely. And but what I do is I share a lot of tips on that whole side of, employees and entrepreneurs not knowing how to be social for business. So it's all about the tips. So I'm giving tips every week on how to be social and what you can post, content ideas. I break down content. I break down like what I call a scroll stopper. So if anything made me stop scrolling, I
Yeah.
break down the why so that you can take the same lessons in the why and apply it to your frame of reference. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of amazing creators on LinkedIn. Whether it's learning from stories in this type of format right here, there's so much to be had and learn from stories. And if the comments were going, we could even get into your questions and stuff like that. But I'll be back. Promise.
And I've been doing webinars on how to utilize video as well on a regular basis. So, just free webinars for people out there that are curious or, really want to be able to do something.
And
So
that's it. There's a lot of free content to get you
yes,
started.
yes,
And then you invest when you feel that this is the strategy forward for you. And that's it. And that's why the good content creators, the good teachers, the good coaches out there, they will put it out there so that they can bring you along a path to make a decision whether that teacher is for you or not.
yeah. We never run out of abundance. Remember that.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Cher, this has been a phenomenal time, and I know that I've taken a little bit more of your time than I normally do. However,
I'm appreciative.
it's April Fool's Day, so
Yeah. You get
I
extras.
got you extra time. So a few extra tips.
Yeah.
Just ask Cher. If you're not connected with Cher, connect with her on LinkedIn and just take a moment and watch the show. Catch the show on Tuesday. It's live, and I guess the April Fool's Day is on us because it's like they turned me off or something. I don't know, but
no, we'll find it.
We'll find it.
Me and you both will jump into the comments of the live show after
Yeah.
it goes on replay, and we'll go and respond to everybody. So if you guys got questions, put them in there. We'll answer them.
Yes, absolutely. And reach out and let us know if you have if you need assistance or have any questions in the future as well. So
for sure.
And also,
thank you for having me.
Kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And you enjoy the day. Thank you so much, Cher.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
So we were on LinkedIn. I checked.
We are on LinkedIn.
Yeah, which is good.